Hi there guys, Rath here from tabletopminis.com and welcome to Q&A episode 2. So I've compiled the questions like I said I would from the last video in the YouTube comments, and we can just run through the questions and I'll try and answer what I can. And I've also got a little segment at the end where I want to ask you some questions and get some feedback. So let's start with your questions. So Klaus Zoidberg, he says, I have a question. Do you intend to make bat reps from other games in the future? For example, Infinity, Halo Fleet Battles, Firestorm, Armada, or Kings of War? Good question. We are a tabletop miniatures channel. We do have a focus on Games Workshop, but that's for no other reason than that's what we're most familiar with, and we've played Games Workshop games since we were young. So there's so many games, there's so many armies, there's so much painting to do. It's difficult to get everything that we want to do done. So when we started the channel, we thought, okay, we'll do Warhammer and 40k because that's what we play anyway, and we'd also covered the specialist games because it'd been quite a long time since we'd looked at them, and we've got plenty of fond memories playing them, like Blood Bowl and Necromunda and stuff. And also there was a couple of games that when we weren't really playing the hobby, like Battlefleet Gothic and Moretime, that we wanted to just sort of see what we had missed out on. So we are not just stuck to Warhammer 40k and Age of Sigmar and so on. We would like to do other games. If I, off the top of my head, I would like to try Infinity, and I would like to try War Machine and Kings of War. But it's just really fitting in amongst our normal activities. So, we've got campaigns running for Blood Bowl, Moretime, Necromunda, and so on. And then on top of that, we've got Age of Sigmar and 40k. So it's a lot of games to cover, and quite a limited time to do it in. So it's really about managing priorities, and I guess it'll come up again in my questions to you. One of them is, what is it you actually want to see? Because right now, for example, we're getting a little bit carried away in Age of Sigmar because it's new, and we're loving playing it. We're loving the miniatures. We're loving the new releases. We're spending a lot of time on Age of Sigmar, and you would have noticed that in the battle reports. There's a lot of the last sort of 7-8 videos has been Age of Sigmar battle reports. And I guess we can kind of do that because we're not tied down to a fixed schedule, and we haven't, our YouTube channel hasn't been around for very long. So, we haven't got subscribers from all, game types and so on. Most of our subscribers actually came from our first Age of Sigmar video onwards, because we were one of the first ones to release an Age of Sigmar battle report that actually did really well. I think it's over 40,000 views already, and for a new channel that's really, really good. So one of the assumptions I'm making right now is most of you guys subscribe to us because of Age of Sigmar, and therefore I'm not too worried about going through a spell of doing just Age of Sigmar and kind of putting these other games on the back burner for just a little while. It doesn't mean we're not going to cover them. We're definitely going to cover them. It's just we've not actually tied down a schedule yet. So we definitely do want to play other games, not just Games Workshop games, but it's just managing the schedule and managing our time, because it really does take a lot of time making these videos and battle reports. And we're always thinking about what are we going to do next, and what do we need to paint to do that next video. And there's different ways of approaching it. Because we are hobbyists at heart, we can't really just speed paint everything just so it looks okay on the camera. Like if you notice with our Age of Sigmar box set, it took quite a while. I mean, we got the box set on the day it came out, but it took quite a while for us to get the first video up, because we don't really believe in just sort of picking up the airbrush, giving it 2 colors and then putting it on the video, or even just base painting it and a quick wash and then putting it on the video. Like we tend to paint the miniatures like, we're not doing this YouTube thing, and that obviously delays putting out videos, and because we've got a sort of limited painted collection at the moment, we're really focusing on the things that are the most important, like Age of Sigmar and Warhammer 40k, and these other games are, you know, it doesn't take much painting to be able to play them, like Necromunda and Battlefleet Gothic and so on. It's just, you know, maybe paint up your gang in 1 or 2 evenings, and then you can play through a campaign with it. So they're not too intensive, but I guess with Kings of War you can use existing models, but Infinity and War Machine and so on, you know, that's all extra stuff to do. So it's all about managing our time. I think I went on a little bit too long for that question. So, okay, next, Andrew Starr. Just a bit of feedback, lads. I think for the viewer it would be easier if you mark wounds taken rather than doing some calculation and then telling us how many wounds somebody has remaining. We could do it that way. It definitely is. Wound tracking is definitely an important thing. We've been doing it with dice, just putting the number of wounds remaining on it. I think we are going to get some tokens soon, some sample tokens, and with like a sort of a dial that you rotate to show how many wounds are left on the model. So we'll see how that works out. Number 2, when moving models up and down hills, I think we should be adding some distance to our movement. The rules say that moving up down over costs the movement in inches of the height of the obstacle or something like that. So I would measure the height of the hill 1 or 2 inches probably, and then add those inches to the movement required for anyone moving on, off, or over the hill. I guess it's, you know, if there is some extra movement required, it should be measured in some way. We're not really that strict about it. So, I mean, for us, we've just been kind of measuring, because, you know, if you measured the height and then you measure the distance, you're still not going to get an accurate movement. You're going to have to measure the actual length of the slope, which I think is roughly done by the tape measure anyway. So I understand what you mean, but I'm not sure whether the hassle of getting it that accurate is so important that we'd you know, do anything else with that. Put your names on the credits, even if it's just your first names. It's more informal that way and builds more viewer rapport or something like that. And keep up the good work. Cheers, Andrew. Yeah, we can do that. We can stick our names in the credits if that's what you'd like to see. Next, from Sean Rich. Loving the awesome battle reports, guys. I'm fully embracing the Stormcast Eternals, but can't wait until there are some new releases for Orcs and Goblins. Are there any armies you guys are looking forward to seeing updated? Keep up the good work. Thank you, Sean. And there's plenty of stuff that I'm looking forward to. Top of my list right now is probably the new elves. I really want to see what the new elves look like, and the Dwarden, you know, I don't know what the name was for them, the Flame Spire, or the guys who are like kind of the mercenary dwarfs that'll fight for Chaos or Order. I'm really interested to see what their models look like. So yeah, I guess that's what I'm kind of looking forward to. I know the other guys they're looking forward to. I think Orcs and what was the other army? I think it was Dwarden as well. So yeah, there's plenty of new stuff going to come out soon, I'm sure, and definitely looking forward to that. So Keebler Powell, also, do you think the current rules allow units in combat to shoot? Dun dun dun. So this is one of them questions that, you know, you can quite easily say yes, they're allowed to shoot. It doesn't say they cannot shoot in the rules. Coming out of Warhammer, I've got to say personally, when I read through them 4 pages of rules before our first game of Age of Sigmar, the thought never crossed my mind that, oh, now we can shoot into combat or out of combat. So that's how we played our first game or two, and then, you know, we got some comments and feedback saying, oh, you know, you can shoot into combat and out of combat. And my first impression or my first reaction was, well, maybe you can technically, but is it right that you shoot into combat or out of combat? Was it the intention of the rules writer that you be able to do that? And you know, on this channel anyway, we're kind of going with the flow. So my personal opinion, if I was just playing a casual game with you know, my friend or my brother and it wasn't on YouTube, I wouldn't play you can shoot into or out of combat, because it doesn't make sense to me. Like, if it was a real war, you wouldn't shoot your friends while they're fighting. And let's say a high elf archer's in hand-to-hand combat with a black orc.
he wouldn't be able to, you know, turn his bow somewhere and shoot another unit. It just doesn't make sense to me. Although it does add some extra interest to the game, some more different dynamics, and I'm happy to play it either way. Really, it's not a big deal to me. But I wouldn't say, the rules don't explicitly say you can shoot into combat or out of combat. It just doesn't say you can't. And with 4-page rulebook, there's lots of other situations like this where you can interpret it, you know, in any way you like, because it doesn't explicitly state it. But I think if you go to the end of the 4-page rules, where's the rules? I think a lot of people need to really understand what Games Workshop have done here with the most important rule, and they have really said that, you know, do what makes sense to you, and none of this is hard and fast. It's just guidelines, and when you look at how the game has changed from Fantasy into Age of Sigmar, you kind of get the impression that the rule set is designed for you to have fun. And sort of nitpicking and being too strict on you can and cannot do this. I think just decide with your opponent how you want to play it, which I really like. I mean, it says here, you know, have a quick chat with your opponent and apply the solution that makes the most sense to you both, or seems the most fun. And yeah, so I would say I don't believe the intention of the rules was to allow units to shoot in combat or out of combat. But if that's how the community is going to interpret it, then I'm happy to play it like that. Okay, the next question is from Keebler Powell again. Do you think the current rule set we have access to will make it possible to have a good tournament play out well? Now, personally, I don't have much experience playing tournaments. I've never been a super competitive player. I've always played. I love the painting and modeling. I love trying to win, but not at all costs, like spoiling the fun of my opponent to do that. So with this question, I think probably the best way to answer is to just say, no, I don't think a tournament will play out well. Depending on, but it does depend on the type of tournament. If it's a Games Workshop in-store tournament where you're playing against people you know, and it's kind of, there's a lot of the fun aspect in it, then a tournament can be fun. But if you're going to play it as a competitive tournament or in a competitive environment where you really just want to win and you know, at all costs, and then no, I don't think it can, because the game has got too much randomness, and this has been mentioned by many of the other YouTubers and so on, that you know, they don't think that well, if you add randomness to a game, the more randomness you add to it, the less competitive it can be, because it depends less on the player's ability to formulate a plan and execute it. So like chess, for example, there's a very fixed rule set. There's nothing random in it. It's just if you lose, it's because you made a mistake, not because the dice rolled low. Whereas in Age of Sigmar, it's even less competitive than Warhammer Fantasy, because there's more things, more random things that can happen. Even like the battle rounds, for example, going from, you know, you can have 2 turns in a row. So do you plan 2 turns ahead or 1 turn ahead? I mean, you can think of both options, but at the end of the day, there's just going to be more random things going on. So I don't think it can really be a competitive game unless you house rule it and you majorly house rule it, and then you're basically playing a different game. So Age of Sigmar, I think, is a game to immerse yourself in the setting and enjoy having fun with your friends. I really don't think there's any competitive aspect to it, but yet to see. Okay, Andrew Starr, really enjoying the high quality presentations. Looks great. Background. Oh, this, he says he will add more questions, but I think some. Okay, Mark Buan. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Hi guys, great work on your videos. I'm about to paint some Stormcast new army, and I was wondering if you can give me some feedback on the use of Retribution Gold spray. I heard some feedback that the result was granulated sometimes on the miniatures. What's your experience with it? Well, we painted our Hammers of Sigmar with the Retribution spray and didn't have any issues with it really. I mean, we're kind of in about 30 degrees Celsius here, maybe a little bit less. So it's quite warm, and sort of spraying 20 centimeters away from the model certainly didn't have any graininess to the finish. So it may be different if you're spraying in a colder environment, but we've certainly had no problems with it. And actually, we were really impressed with the finish. We thought it looked really, really nice, even better than we had imagined when we bought the can. But the can is very expensive, and I'm not sure it was wholly worth it. But it certainly makes it quicker. So I would say if you've got a lot of models to paint, then yeah, it's worth it. Okay, next, Wolf. What are you guys planning on focusing on? So far you seem to do mostly Warhammer Age of Sigmar, but that may just be because of his recent launch. Keep up the good work, thanks. So it's like I said before, really we're kind of focusing on Age of Sigmar and Warhammer 40,000 at the moment. With all the specialist games, all these older games, as a kind of filling in between our regular 40k and Age of Sigmar battle reports. So we don't have a schedule at the moment. It's something to get some feedback from you guys and think about. But personally, I'd like to get sort of at least 5 battle reports out a week. And I'd say it'd be good if maybe 1 or 2 of them were Age of Sigmar, one or two 40k, and a couple of specialist games, or maybe new games, Malifaux, Infinity, War Machine. But it's just sort of setting that schedule and fitting everything in. So I think most of you guys watching are mainly interested in Age of Sigmar or 40k. So that's really what we'll be focusing on, I think. But we will play anything else. So I think that answers that. Next one, Dudiomayik. A big hello from Canada. Any plans for another BFG bat rep in a soonish time frame? I really appreciate the first bat rep you did, and I can't wait to see more from a game that is sorely underrepresented on YouTube for obvious reasons. Yeah, definitely. If you've seen our recent video on making Battlefleet Gothic terrain, I just made up some planets and asteroids and moons and stuff. Getting ready for our next game, and we painted up some Eldar, but I think that was just before Age of Sigmar came out, and then we've been non-stop Age of Sigmar since then. So hopefully, I can't really give you a time of when we're going to get it out, but everything's painted, ready to go. We just got to play and record for BFG. So and it was quite a popular video as well, so we definitely will be doing more. Not to mention the fact that I've got about well, I wouldn't like to say I wouldn't like to tell you how much I've spent on BFG ships, but and that Ramillies class starport, but there's a lot there. So it's definitely something we're going to play more of. It does take a long time for them battle reports, so for BFG, because it's quite a bookkeeping intensive game. It's more work to film than anything else, I would say, especially being new to BFG. But over time, I guess we'd get quicker and it'd be easier to film. But I love the setting. I love the 40k space battles. It is amazing. So MTFC Daniel, hey guys, really love your videos. One of my favorite wargaming channels. Thank you. Just wanted to ask if you think Age of Sigmar will be a success for Games Workshop. Absolutely. I think Age of Sigmar is going to be an amazing success for Games Workshop. I think that it's going to be more popular than 40k, and that's a big statement. But I think that Games Workshop know what their customers want, and they always have done, and that's why they've been the most successful miniatures company in our industry. They were. I think Age of Sigmar is taking Warhammer in the right direction. It's bringing back a lot of the hobby side of the game, I would say, rather than it going to the sort of larger rule books and you know, it's going more to sort of you use your imagination, you use your creativity, we'll give you the models. And that, for me, I think that's the right way to go. And I would say the fact that they put that metal Sigmarine Stormcast Eternal outside the headquarters in Nottingham is a clear statement from Games Workshop that Age of Sigmar is our baby, and we are going to back that thing all the way. And you know, when a company like Games Workshop makes that sort of statement in whatever ways it does it, through its annual reports and press releases and statues and all this type of thing, you know Games Workshop is going to give it 110%, and I've got total confidence in Games Workshop being able to pull this off, because they're huge. They're huge they've got an amazing track record. They've got you know, a massive amount of following. And yeah, I think that Age of Sigmar will be a massive success. It's just a transitionary period now where people need to acclimatize to the new rules and the new way of playing. But that's just a process that will happen, and then people will start embracing it. And even a lot of the people who were, you know, that's it, burn my army, I'm quitting, I think they are going to be buying or playing Age of Sigmar, or some of them will be, over the coming weeks and months. So yeah, absolutely, I think it's going to be a success. Next question. So, Gamolol, do you have any custom-made campaigns or scenarios planned? Yes, we do. I won't reveal them just now, but we definitely do have some custom scenarios planned, or campaigns planned. So that's one thing I love about Age of Sigmar. I've read the big book is just amazing. All the stories in that, you know, how the Stormcasts are reclaiming the mortal realms. There's plenty of ideas, and you know, there's so much content in here to be able to expand on. I think, you know, this covers the initial sort of beachhead with the Stormcast Eternals retaking the realm of fire and the realm of life, and it kind of leads into the realm of metal. But there's also every realm there. You know, Sigmar had sent down Stormcast Eternals, so there's not only the other realms to get into, but they expand on the retaking of or reclaiming of the gates in the realms of fire and life. And they've got little maps in there showing you different places and different chambers from the Stormcasts, you know, helping each other. So there's loads of content there to start expanding upon and making your own little battles within the overall story. So yeah, you will definitely see some of that to come, and I'm really looking forward to it. Next, we've got Peter Vaca. Hello, I would only ask, do you think with the new game world, Age of Sigmar comes as new figures for the race of dwarfs? I have long believed that the end time was the end of Warhammer Fantasy World, but now it is back. Thank you for your response here from the Czech Republic. So, Peter, yeah, there's definitely going to be new figures for the dwarfs. I think the artwork kind of gives you an idea of the direction they're going in, and I think they're going to look amazing. I think the new dwarfs will look amazing. Yeah, so next one, As It Jam Jam, or that's hey if you want to free. Okay, Handegeke also got the game in maths. Awesome maths. First question, how many armies do you have and which ones are they? So I'm not sure which game he refers to here. I'll start with Age of Sigmar. So we have Chaos Stormcast. We've got 2 box sets worth of them, plus we've been buying the extra stuff like the Lord Castellan and some other things. We've got I've got a high elf army that's about 5,000 old points, something. I've basically got everything from the high elves, every special character, every unit, and quite a lot of them, apart from the sisters, and I think that's it. But yeah, I've got a huge high elf army. A lot of it is still unpainted though, so you will be seeing more high elves or elves. and we've got Dwarfs, about maybe 3,500 points. Still quite a lot of that unpainted. And we've got some Wood Elves that you haven't seen yet, and Durthu, and some other bits that I'm sure you will see when we get a Sylvaneth army together. So we've got plans to get more armies. I'm especially looking forward to doing an undead army myself. So yeah, there's still to come. But the thing is, you know, we've got so much painting to do. That's the problem. It's really getting stuff painted fast enough. It's not actually getting the armies. That's the problem. It's painting them quick enough. For 40k, we've got Blood Angels, full army that you haven't seen yet. That needs a lot of painting. We've got Space Wolves. We've got Eldar, quite a large army, and we've got Tyranids, and what else do we have? We've got plans to do quite a few other armies. It's just we haven't got around to them yet. So, and for all of these games, actually, for Battlefleet Gothic, for Necromunda, Blood Bowl, and Moortime, we have got a lot of gangs and warbands and teams that you haven't seen, and a lot of the special characters, the Dramatis Personae, the hired guns, all sorts of stuff that you haven't seen yet. They're really cool miniatures. It's just finding the time to paint them is just hard work. It really is. That's our issue at the moment, is the painting, because you know, to keep that standard of painting, that you know, you can't go below, because we're not really army painters. We're more kind of presentation painters, maybe. I don't know if that's the right word, but my attitude towards painting is not just to slap on a color so it looks okay. It's painting to be sort of proud of the model, and it's really hard to do that, and at the same time, from a sort of, you know, get armies ready. So we'll see how that's going to work out. Next question. Old Gamer EWM. Enjoying all the hard work you do. For the question about painting, Warhammer TV channel on YouTube, the Games Workshop painter gives you some splendid advice on painting. BFG, please. So yeah, the Warhammer TV they do good video guides. I mean, we painted our Hammers of Sigmar and our Chaos. We used that Warhammer TV guides that I think is Duncan Rhodes is his name, that he does, and they're really good. They're not like you know, he's kind of painting to a basic-ish style, where you know, his videos anybody can kind of follow them, but the finished result is really good, and is a quick way of you know, getting through the whole model. So yeah, I would recommend checking them out. And Henrik Oldenborg, what camera are you using? I want to start making battle reports just for personal use. So this is a Canon XA10 camcorder, and my second camera, the DSLR, is a Samsung, quite a smallish one, but yeah, it's a good camera. And that's all of the questions that I have here in the thread. There may be more questions on other videos, but I've only looked and compiled from this thread, or this video. So let's get into the second part of Q&A, episode 2, and that's where I'd like to ask you some questions. So firstly, bat rep style, still or shaky? So you would have seen most of our videos up till now, in fact all of them, apart from this last video that's gone out, which is Chaos versus Elves, have been camera in hand going around the battlefield and getting the dice rolls and so on, and I think the results have been reasonably good. I think that probably the worst part of our videos is where the camera gets really shaky, like which just happens from time to time. I would say our camera work, you know, we've not been doing it for very long, so it's going to get better anyway, but you know, to be able to like really look at the models and enjoy the battle report. We tried a new style for this Elves versus Chaos, where we mounted the camera just on the tripod, and we had still images not still images, but like still video on the tripod for every time we were going to move or charge or whatever. And at the same time, show the dice rolls in the bottom right hand side of the screen. So I just want to get some feedback from you guys. What do you think? Do you think it makes the videos a little bit more boring because there's not so much movement, or did you prefer it? Just get some consensus on it, because it's more work doing it that way. Or what we could do is we could do a mix where we have the dice camera in the bottom corner, but we still have the video moving around. Yeah, we're still experimenting right now. We're finding our feet. So any feedback on that would be good. Next, I just want to say we've got a new Facebook page. So the old Facebook page, I got a request from Facebook to send confirmation ID, like 2 or 3 forms of ID and all sorts of other stuff, because I'd put it as a personal Facebook account, Tabletop Minis. So I just started a new Facebook page, and I've put it in as a video entertainment channel, like kind of under the businesses thing. So if any of you liked or subscribed to our Facebook page, if you can move on to the new page, that'd be good. So I'll put a link to that Facebook page in the video description as well. Yeah, that'd be good. Next question. Have you guys been enjoying the scenarios, or would you rather just see pitched battles? 'Cause I think we had one comment that from somebody saying, can you guys stop doing scenarios and go back to pitched battles? And I think this game suits scenarios very well, and I thought, being the start of Age of Sigmar, when everybody's learning how it works, going through the scenarios would be the best way of starting our playlist or video series. But if you guys are finding the scenarios a little bit boring, or if you've got any sort of constructive feedback, that would be great for, so we know what you want to see. Next question I have is, what games would you like to see? So are you guys all Age of Sigmar fans? Is this why you're subscribed and watching, or have a lot of you come because of the other games? I'm trying to gauge how to make a rough schedule of what content to put out and how regularly. So what do you guys want to see? It's a hard question to get accurate feedback, I guess. Next thing I want to say is, would any of you guys be interested in coming to the south of France to come here and play Age of Sigmar or any other game? It wouldn't even have to be Games Workshop game. You could come and show us how to play a game if you wanted. Would any of you be interested in coming here for however long you'd like to stay in game? So I know some of the other YouTube channels do it, where they invite guests to come and play with them, and it gets a bit more variety into the videos because you've got new faces, you've got new armies. If that's something that I was to offer, would you guys be interested in that? South of France, near Toulouse. I know if you're from the UK, probably quite easy to get down here for a weekend. I mean, even if you came down on a Saturday and back on the Sunday, that would work. Or it's just an idea I've got at the moment. But interested to hear if you'd consider that. And what else? What are you guys using to track your games? Track all of the buffs and debuffs and things going on. We found that we actually forget to do a lot of things, and it's next to impossible to like it's easy to say, well, a war scroll is simple. You just look at the war scroll before you do something, but it's not really that simple. When you've got terrain effects and you've got other guys' command abilities affecting other guys, and at the same time you've got like magic debuffs and stuff, it really does get quite complicated. We're going to get some tokens soon, some sample tokens for marking out a lot of things. But how are you guys finding it? I know in the small battles it's quite easy to manage, but the larger you get and the more complicated war scrolls that you're using, like special characters, finding it quite hard to keep track of everything. It maybe as well because we're making a battle report, so we have the camera and we have all these other things that we're dealing with. It's not lighting and dice rolls on another camera and all this type of thing. It's like we do forget occasionally bits and bobs. But are you guys finding that difficult or not? And lastly, what do you think of, I don't know if any of you guys have looked at Games Workshop's financial statement or its annual statement. For me, I thought the numbers look fine. There was a statement there that from the CEO saying that our customers call us Warhammer, so that's why we're going to rebrand our stores, or at least the high footfall stores, which is like Tottenham Court and in the big cities. They've already started rebranding them from Games Workshop to Warhammer. In my whole time playing, I've never said I'm going to the Warhammer shop. It's always been I'm off to Games Workshop, or let's go to Games Workshop. I'm not sure what they think they're going to achieve with the rebranding, but what do you think about that? And there was also a major statement that the CEO made. He said that over the next year they're going to be resetting the ranges. So it's already been done with Warhammer. It's been reset into Age of Sigmar, and they said ranges. So I mean, what ranges do Games Workshop provide at the moment? 40k, Age of Sigmar, and Lord of the Rings. I think Lord of the Rings is kind of dwindling off, so it really means that there's going to be some major changes coming for 40k soon, or soon TM, and maybe they use Age of Sigmar as a kind of a test bed for what they do with 40k. Certainly some of the rumors are saying that codexes are going to be extinct within 2 years, and I'm sure part of that exercise is going to be simplifying the game to appeal to more customers. I mean, it's obviously going to have a net benefit to the company, but to existing players, I'm not sure how they're going to feel about that. So that's the end of Q&A episode 2. So if you can leave your comments below for the next episode, and then I'll do the same thing. I'll compile them, and we'll pick them up in the next episode. So I hope you enjoyed it, guys. And if you liked this video, please like or subscribe, and check out tabletopminis.com. If you'd like to support us, you can support us on Patreon, which I've got a link in the video description below. So thanks for watching, and happy wargaming.